Hello, good evening, everyone. I am Anita, and I welcome all of you on behalf of Manhattan Meditation Center. Very warm welcome to everyone who is joining us on Facebook, YouTube, and Zoom. You are our true inspiration because you choose to be with us on Thursday evenings. It's really inspiring. So, once again, uh, these talks are available on YouTube channel of Manhattan Center. If you want to listen to this talk or any of the previous ones, please subscribe to the YouTube channel for easy access. The talks are also available on the Facebook page of Manhattan Center. Beside this, Manhattan Center offers live meditation twice a day, power boost at 12 p.m. in the afternoon, and good night meditation from Monday to Saturday at 8 p.m. and on Sundays at 7:30 p.m. So we are with you throughout. These meditations are only for 15 to 20 minutes. We really encourage you to experience this live and take the benefit of, when you're doing it in a group. Although we are sitting at different places physically, but, not only there is a digital connection, but there is a connection at the thought level also. And it does help when you sit in meditation. But you need to experience that to actually appreciate what I'm saying. So one last time, today is October 21st, and on October 23rd, which is day after tomorrow, we are offering a workshop, Science of Happiness. So if you haven't registered for it or haven't shared the information with your friends and family, please do so. That's your last chance, just for one particular reason, because we all want to be happy. So let's learn the secret about that. Now, coming to today's topic, strategy for success. We as human beings, we try everything with the aim of succeeding, right? Did we ever do anything by thinking or with the aim that we don't want to succeed? I don't think that's an option. Anyone actually chooses, that as an option. But the fact of the matter is that we do not succeed often enough, not as much as we want to, right? The reason, there could be many reasons, but before we go there, I want to share a story. I know I tell a lot of stories. I was an avid reader as a child. So this is a true story. In the western states of India, there was a king called Maharana Pratap. He was very, very brave. He was from the Rajput clan. And he was ruling during 1600 centuries. At that time, Mughals were trying to capture as much part of India as possible. So there was often wars between the Indian kings and the Mughals. So Maharana Pratap was also one of the kings who doesn't want to give in. So one of the times he lost the battle against Mughals, and he has to run away and hide in jungles. He really barely managed to, escape with the skin on his back with his family. And they had next to nothing resources. They were eating, the Indian bread is called chapati, made with grass. So one day he was going to have his dinner of grass chapati, and he saw an ant crawling up the trunk of the tree. And the ant has a little speck of a grain, what the ant was trying to carry. And it fell. And it went again. So sometime the ant was falling and it has to go back again. And sometime the grain was falling, so the ant has to come back and pick the grain and go again. But it kept trying until it succeeded. It's one of the very popular stories in Indian history, and it is told again and again to motivate people that, you don't give up. So watching that ant, he really, got motivated, and he said, if this ant can do until he succeeds, I can do it too. So he gathered his allies, and he, gathered you know, a good number of soldiers, and he fought against Mughals again. And this time he won. So let's fast forward to today's time. So it's like 500, approximately 500 years. We as today's human beings, we are stressed, we are anxious most of the time. Most of us suffer from insomnia. We have, worries and anxieties over a lot of things. The fast pace of life, you know the reasons are, right? But the end result of that is that we lose motivation quickly. If we don't succeed, we don't have the grit to try it again and again till we succeed. Not like Maharana Pratap, we can't do it. We don't have that stamina. But does that mean we should not still aim to succeed? No, of course not. We just need to become smarter. We don't need to work harder, but we need to work smarter. So that's what today's speaker is going to share us with, about. So you're seeing Sister Louise Bemmel already on the screen with me. I know we have advertised Dr. Rona Schweitz' name, but we have the fortune and opportunity to welcome Sister Louise. She is from Suriname, uh, the small country in Caribbeans, and she's a pediatrician by profession and a student of spiritual study and a Raj Yogi for 20 plus years. Welcome, Sister Louise. You need to unmute yourself. You're muted.
Thank you so much, Anita.
Yeah, so very warm welcome on behalf of everyone. Now I remember I have met you in Peace Village once.
Sure.
So we're all ready and eager to hear some secrets how to strategize so we can succeed often enough. Thank you so much. So floor is all yours.
Thank you, Anita, and you everyone who is there with us. Because I think your success is that you could be here and that we just have saved this time to share together and see what it is that we all can learn. One of the things that came to mind when I was asked if I could do a lecture on this theme was what I have taken as my blessing when I started the spiritual path. It was the first thing that came to mind. And you might maybe guess what was that slogan that I really took as a blessing for my spiritual on my spiritual path, which is determination is the key to success. So it just popped up when I I heard about the theme, and I have used this blessing from day one until today. And gradually, it's very interesting to start understanding that on a path on a spiritual journey, many things will come your way that you did not expect at all. And that it's like an adventure. It's like an adventurous journey where, like any drama or any film or anything, when you know that this one is the hero actor in that film, when you know the one who is playing the key role in the film, you almost know that that one will have a journey, that that one will have an adventurous journey to travel, but that the success is awaiting also. Because once we spot the hero in the film, we know that many things will happen, but the result will be success for the hero. And so when we start thinking about strategies, is there any strategy that I should follow? Is there any plan that I should make? Or do I have to understand the bigger plan and then follow suit? There is one thing that, many of you might have the habit or the hobby of swimming. And when you're swimming in a swimming pool and the water is silent, you can do as you like. But when you are in nature and there is this stream, there is this flow of water, which is a very natural flow, depending on the weather, depending on the tide, then if you are a good swimmer, then you know that you have to follow the tide and you have to follow the flow to enjoy the presence of the water, or you be in the water. Because once you start doing things against that natural flow, you will be struggling. And although you are a good swimmer, if you go against the flow, many things can happen to you which you can't deal with. And it's not strange that, the news that people who were very good swimmers, but when they go against the natural things, that they get drowned or anything can happen to them. But those who are playing with the tide, have you ever seen surfers, They go on the ocean waves and they just enjoy the waves because they give in to the flow and they dance with it and they enjoy. So there is something there with whatever we call natural. And I realize more and more that we try to set things at our hand and not understand how things flow naturally. And that's where we get stuck. That's where we feel that we are not successful. And if you are in nature and you are in that water, even if it's a dangerous situation, if you give yourself, like your go with the flow as, but then in a very physical way, you will see that nature will help you and that you will be much more safe. And if you fight against the flow, this goes for water, but this also goes for daily things in our daily life. But the thing is that many times we don't know what the flow is. So where to go, what to do, where to say yes and where to say no, where to struggle and where to enjoy. And so I think this is a very deep secret in life, that when we don't understand what is the flow, what is the natural flow of things, then it becomes a struggle, then it becomes laboring, and then we cannot see success, felt by the deeper sense of freedom and happiness. Because when we talk about success, it's also interesting and important for us to see, how do we define our success? What is it to be successful? And especially here in the United States, success is many a time connected with money. If you have big money, then you are successful. If you have a lot of material things, then you are successful. So we measure success by the things that we gain, the things that we collect, by the things that we feel that others will look up to us for us having it. And so the materialization of many things around ourselves as means to be successful has brought us in a stage where we never have enough. Because if my success is measured by the things I have, and I still feel unhappy if I buy the next house, it still gives me more worries. I can't sleep at night. I get insomnia and all kind of things because I just have purchased that new house. Then it's interesting to think about if that is what I really want as means of success in. Sometimes we don't realize we are striving for things on that material plane to feel successful. We don't realize, so we do because everyone is doing it, and everyone is telling me you should do this and you should do this and you should do so, and then you will be successful. And it can go all directions. It can go in relationships. It can go into material possessions, material gains. It can go into ambition. I want to have a next level. I want to have next degree. Then I will be successful. So many of those things, and some things are even more subtle. I want that my ideas should be listened at, which is a very subtle thing. That I feel successful if what I want happens. But when you start understanding on a different level, a spiritual level, that success in your life will always bring freedom and happiness. If it's real success, it will give you the sense of freedom and it will give you the sense of happiness. And those are the two things that I always use as a norm, that where do I measure my success with? Is the thing that I'm doing giving me the sense of deeper freedom and inner happiness? And if the answer is yes, then I know that I'm in the right direction. But if the answer is no, or I have to think loudly, am I free or am I not free? Am I happy or am I not happy? Then there is work. I have to step into that workshop and start checking myself. What is it that takes away my freedom and that takes away my happiness? And so, what is your definition of success? This is the first. Because if I measure my success in having many degrees, okay, that's okay. Maybe for me it works. But when I cannot pursue that, does it make me unhappy? Then I have to go and check. I have to go and check and see what is it that I really want in my life. Because success and happiness is not the end product of what I'm doing. It's what I'm connecting to on a daily, on a momentary basis. No? And sometimes we say, yes, I have to give in, I have to surrender some things because I want to be successful. But if that surrender, if that disinterest gives me a deeper sense of freedom, I'm on the right path. But if it gives me more headache, if it gives me more stress, if it gives me a sense that I'm in prison, I have to start checking, what am I doing? What am I doing to myself? What am I doing with my life? Is this really what I want? Successful. Because if my aim is high and my aim is not based on deeper selfish motives, then that disinterest, that surrender to other things, will give me a good feeling. I will not have the feeling that I'm in jail, that I'm imprisoned. It will give me the sense of tapping into my higher self and tapping into my higher purposes. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say here. That, like, for instance, if you want to start a new study, any study, it can be any study, and you want to finish that study, not because you feel that I have a next degree, but you feel that you will improve, the quality of whatever you can do in your life, which is a higher purpose, no? So if you have that sense that it will take me to a higher level of quality of life, and I will take 3 hours a day off of whatever I did to study, those 3 hours will give me a deeper sense of purpose as well. I will not feel engaged, I will not feel imprisoned, and I will enjoy that 3 hours of study because I know it takes me to the next level of, to my sense, of purpose, what I want to read. So it's a little bit, sometimes the margin is a little bit narrow, because if you don't take time in between to check yourself, you can get stuck into that idea that I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. And you don't take time to be in the moment and to live your life. And so the determination to, even if you want to be successful in the meal you cook, I've been I've been experimenting with that lately, quite, on different levels. And if I am in the kitchen, which looks like a very simple activity, but if I am in the kitchen and I want to prepare whatever meal, it can be a very simple meal, it can be a very, meal with so many items. But what is it that it takes me to reach, the final product, which is the food prepared? But the success is when others and myself will be happy when we share it, isn't it? And so it's not, using many big things. But what other ingredients am I putting in that kitchen? How much love? How much, accuracy? How much, am I putting into that cooking process? I can cook with a lot of attachment. I cook for you because you love this. I cook for you because you love this. So what will be the result of my cooking? Or I will cook with a higher purpose, and I will cook good food and we will share it and it will bring us together. Then when I have this, intention in my cooking, and especially when I even make it higher, let's cook for God and share it amongst us. It will be a totally different experience when cooking. The sense of freedom, the way the kitchen looks like, and the way that it will be accepted by those whom I share it with. And so the determination to have that end product is there. But what is the way that takes me to that I have that meal in front of me and I can, and we have a lot of loving feelings and what is it? And like a exchange of different energies just by sharing it. And you will have the experience too that if you are in a restaurant and everything is set up properly now, and you eat in the restaurant or you eat at home with your inmates, it's a different feeling, isn't it? It's a different energy. It can be exactly the same recipe that you have used. The ambience will be different if you go in a restaurant to eat. But the food that is cooked not always with the same higher intention. The way that it's meant to make money out of it. Of course, people will serve, but they also will wait for their tip. All these kind of things are there mixed, it's mixed in the energy. And so the quality of what we eat and how it serves the body and the soul will be totally different. And so the success might be that we were together as family, but how did we take all aspects in that being together, in that eating together, in that sharing on a level of the heart and not of the head? And so when we think of success, it's not just the material gain. It is not just surfing the tongue, but it's also, when we can serve from the heart to the heart and we take it to a higher level of being together. When I start using those strategies, what do I put into the food? I just stay with that food because that's one of the things that we all do every day. What am I doing with it when I cook, when I share, when I eat? What is it? Sometimes something very simple can be so, the taste of it and the sharing of it can be so beautiful because it's not only what you tasted with the tongue, it's also what touched the heart. And so when we talk about strategies, it begins with my intention. It begins with my deeper feeling of what am I doing it for? Can I be in my natural flow? Can I just flow? And when you're relaxed, you flow very nicely, isn't it? When you're stressed, what happens? Try to cook when you're stressed. You will see how many things fall off your hand. You will see how things burn in the kitchen. You will see how the telephone start ringing whilst cooking and news that comes is not everything's, it pulls the energies together. But when you feel, that sense that, okay, I'm doing it. And what happens too is that your way of planning things will also change. The way you start planning your own things, because when you're in the flow, you don't have to plan too much, but you flow and then the plan evolves, isn't it? Now, have you ever, you didn't go for shopping and you want to cook and you say, okay, I'm going to cook and I'm going to cook for God today, and let's see what's there. And it's surprising when you open the fridge to see what are the things that you can just use to have a good meal, isn't it? You see, so your innovative, um, um, what is it? You become innovative you start creating, your creativity start working. And creativity is something from our inner self. I cannot be creative if I'm not close to myself. And I would start looking here and looking there and looking for this and looking for that, pulling things from outside to do whatever I have. But when I'm close to myself, when I'm in that consciousness, then my creativity will also start working. And when I do it with God, and I use that higher energy, it will pull me up again. And I know, what happens is very beautiful. The only thing is, I have to be, this is what I was trying to say is that if I'm determined and I'm going to do it, I'm going to use that higher energy. And I want to be in that flow. I want to be in that consciousness. Things will just fall in place. And you will be surprised how free you feel. And in what, the time that you will use for the same activity will be much shorter, and you have much more time left for other things to do again. And so to rush in the kitchen because you are in a hurry is not the best idea. If you want to be successful, in whatever you prepare. And so even in that, we are working, the life is hectic, but we can still see how we can set our timings. If it's better if you are more quiet in the morning, then cook in the morning. Don't cook when you come from work, because then everything will already be in a state of chaos. But if you don't have a choice, don't run in the kitchen. Take a shower, sit, relax, take some minutes off, and then start the job. No? And so when we are talking about success, it's also about feeling where you are at. Everything we do in a rush, you can't have that sense of freedom and happiness, isn't it? Must be all of us our experience. But, if you just take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just relax, come to that level where you can again start newness and creativity, then success is waiting. Because before you know, you will finish the cooking, kitchen is clean again, and you have. So be determined. Just be determined. I don't want to feel stressed when I cook. Don't think like that. I will be relaxed when I cook. So shift it the other way around. Like I was listening to the story. This is finish up with. I was listening to the story that Anita was telling. It connected me to another story, which is one of my favorite stories. There was this, you must know this story too. There was this fire in the forest. And all these animals, they started to get a little bit, they didn't know what to do. And so all these big animals, the lion and, those big one tigers, they were just like, what to do here? And looking at the fire, and they didn't know. They were just like, they didn't know what to do. And suddenly there was this little bird. And this little bird flew and dropped one drop of water in the fire and went back. Came back with the next drop. Back with the next drop. And so these big animals were just looking at this small bird, and they start laughing at him and saying, "What do you think you're doing?" And the answer the bird gave, "I do what I can do." And this is such a deep thing, that wherever you are, whatever you are, Do what you can do, and you will be successful in whatever you do. Okay? You're muted, Anita.
What a profound statement, Sister Lois. Do what you can do. Yeah. I think something very similar. That's what I follow for anything, everything which comes my way. I just say, okay, what is the first step? And just go with the flow.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. If there are any questions, or I would like to. Is it possible? Yeah.
Yes, everyone has the control of their mic. So if you have any questions, please unmute yourself and you can ask Sister Lois. And if it's possible, you can turn on your video also when you are talking to Sister Lois. Thank you. Seems like everyone is absorbing what they heard. Oh, there is a question. Uh, so question is, how do you come back if you deter?
Yeah, that needs a strategy. That's a good question, because it happens to all of us. Our mind is such, in Hindi they say chanchal. It goes all kind of directions where we sometimes don't want it to go. And one of the things that I practice myself is to again and again check myself on my thought level. What is it that I'm thinking? What is it that I'm feeling? And it's a practice. It's not something that, overnight you will be able to master it. But once you understand that, once I started to understand that I am the creator of my thoughts, no one else, but I am the creator of my own thoughts. So this is something very deeply that I started to understand since the beginning of my spiritual life. I knew about thoughts, but I am the creator of my own. So if I am the creator of the thoughts, it means that I have the ability to master my thoughts if I'm in that position. I have to put myself in that my thoughts are not the thoughts are not my boss, but I am the boss. And I is that inner being, it's the spiritual being, it's the soul. So because I am creating those thoughts, so if I am creating those thoughts, it means I can create other thoughts too. If thoughts try to take over, certain type of thoughts try to take over, I have to tell my mind that I want to create other. It's like a child, the child you're cooking. We just stay in the kitchen today. You're cooking and the child is pulling your skirt and the child is opening the cupboards and whatever. And you are the cooking, you are the mother in the kitchen. You will be wise and put a child to play with something that you know that will take the attention of, isn't it? If you're a wise mother, you will tell the child, no, it's not the time. In 10 minutes, I will be with you. You sit in the corner and you play. A good mother will know the strategy of how to silence her child, isn't it? Likewise, the soul, I, the master, I can, start to practice this, that I am mastering. I have to master my mind. My mind is not my master. So when I start understanding this, that I am the creator of my thoughts, I also start to understand that I am the creator of my feelings. So I really, when in the first, this was my first connection with the Brahma Kumaris, when I started understanding this lesson of the quality of thoughts, that I can create negative thoughts, I can create wasteful thoughts, unnecessary thoughts, I can create good thoughts, I can create elevated thoughts. And I am the one who's creating them. So these lessons, when I started to understand this deeper of my mind, I started to understand what is the quality of my thoughts. I have to check myself to find out. Because if I don't check myself, I will miss out on it. But I can check myself because it's my life. Who else will check me? Others can check me, but I have to check myself first. So when I start checking myself and I start seeing that my thoughts are going in a direction that I don't want them to go, I can have a set of thoughts. This thing I can prepare beforehand. This thing I can do every morning when I sit for my meditation or I do some spiritual study. I take just one thought, which is bringing me in my self-respect, higher self-respect. And I use that thought on those moments. Because if I start thinking, I don't want to think this, I don't want to think this, I will think it more, no? Then I will give more feed to those thoughts. But if I just change that and I say, this is what I want to think, this is what I want to think, and I make that thought, when you think it one time, you think it twice, you think it the third time, the thought will become stronger. So when I see this happening, and I have my little set of these thoughts, this is how I did in the beginning, and I'm still practicing that. One thought that I use for that day, this is what I will use today to keep myself in that higher self-respect. This is what I can think. This is what I think about myself. So if my thoughts go in that direction, I can just steer. I have to observe it first, because if I don't observe it, I will not know. It's like in traffic, when we are in traffic, you keep distance between you and the cars in front of you, behind you, beside you, whatever, so that you have an overview. You will not go and sit in the trunk to drive your car. You sit in the front. So you are the master. You are the one who has the steering wheel in hands. So when I look at the traffic, I observe it first, and I see that that one in front of me is driving a little bit strange. What will I do? I will not go and dance with that one and drive strange too. I will use my brake. I will use my steering wheel because I observe that something is not right, isn't it? Or I can even stop, just stop and see what is the best route to take. This is the same thing that we do also inside. When I see my mind's going in a wrong direction, something not right, I have to just stop. I have to just observe, and then I can just take the next direction. And the more I practice it, the easier it will become, the more natural it becomes, so I can bring myself to that level where I want to be. Hope it answered the question.
How you make a determination?
It's the same actually, determination. It's like, like this is what I want. I am determined. And when you have to, let's say, you have to keep it a very pure thought. This is where I want to reach. And I'm not talking about physical and material things, but I'm talking about my inner state now. I want to reach that stage of freedom. Let's give an example. Or I want to reach that stage of honesty, just simple thing. Simple thing. So if I want to reach that stage of honesty, this is what I'm telling myself, I'm going to reach that stage. Because honesty is one of the values, one of the virtues that I really want to imbibe in my life. So when I then, the more I think that I really want to give honesty that place in my life, I will come across many situations that will test my honesty, isn't it? Because as soon as you think that you want to reach something, you will see many things that will help you to guide you in that direction. And so then when that situation comes in front of you, apply honesty one time. If you're not successful, you will realize it one time too, because you had that determined thought. But if you're not honest, your conscience will tell you this is what you've promised yourself. You are not successful. Okay, next time I will be. And just be soft to yourself. Don't be too hard and beat yourself up when one time you fail. No, next time again, I have a next chance. And when we become, that loving to the self and we keep that respect of the self, things will happen. We will not always see things happen as we want them to be, but things will come my way to help me to reach my goal, my success, which is my internal success.
Thank you, Om Shanti.
Is clear, brother?
Yes,
Yeah?
yes.
Okay. Okay.
I don't see any more questions in chat, but if anyone still have any questions, please you can open your mic and ask.
Okay.
Would you like to lead us in meditation, Sister Lois? Yeah.
Yes, this is okay. I sit here. I choose one determined thought of something that I want to experience in these coming moments, these coming minutes. Maybe I want to experience that I am a peaceful soul. And I create the thought, I am a peaceful soul. And this thought I repeat in my mind. I am a peaceful soul. I visualize myself in that state of peace, doing whatever I do daily within that state of peace. I start feeling that calm and that sweet inner silence inside. I am a peaceful soul. See myself as that being, energy of peace, feeling that inner silence, emerging from the core of being. I am peace. Peace is my original nature. So I'm just in the flow, natural to me. In this awareness, connect with the source of divine, the supreme, the ocean of peace. And very naturally, I experience closeness, peace, my natural nature. And I become that beacon of peace, spreading peace around me in a very natural way. To all who are in this meeting and all who are in the house, who are in my surroundings, spreads very naturally. I feel that sense of freedom and inner happiness. Me being connected Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
We hope you come back again to share thoughts on different topics. We really look forward to joining us again in a very near future. We do these talks every Thursday, so hoping to see you more often. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Om Shanti, sister.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Thank you,
Good night,
Anita ji.
everyone.